Shnei Seirei Yom Kippurim, the two goats of Yom Kippur, as alike as much as possible. One is going to be brought in the Bet HaMikdash. One is going to be tumbled down the hill. The one that's Kodesh L'Shem, here on the side of the Bet HaMikdash, it's going to be brought, its blood is going to go Lifnai V'Lifnim. The one that is for Lasirim came out of the eastern gate of Har HaBayit, walked by the designated person, the Ishiti, went on a bridge across the Kidron Valley, up Har HaZeitim, the Mount of Olives, and started its way off to the desert. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shakol niyeh b'dvaro. Water in the desert, a shoket, a trough to pour for the sheep, protection for the boar, so that nobody will steal it and so it won't dry out and so that the water won't get dirty. There is Yerushalayim in the background, the towers on the Mount of Olives and Har HaZeitim. To the best of our knowledge, is the path of the man taking the Search of Azazel. V'shilach biad ishiti amidbara v'nasa sir alav et kol avanotam el eretz gezeira v'shilach et asir bamidbar. We are in desert. Don't think desert means sand dunes. Desert means less than 200 millimeters of rainfall per annum. That's what this is. So you must protect the water which is in the natural springs, as we learn in Sefer Dvarim, that it's full of springs, but bikau bahar. Man coming was not left alone. There were 10 sukkot. The Mishnah says, V'imoto at sukkah rishona, 1 mil, 2,000 cubits from the Temple Mount. There was a sukkah, there was a booth with a person manning that booth with food and drink and water. The elders of Jerusalem accompanied him till there. Eser sukkot miYerushalayim v'atzuk. There were 10 sukkot, the 10 booths from Jerusalem to the tzuk. Tishim ris, shiva umertze l'chol mil. 90 ris, 7.5 for each meal. Rabbi Barnea Levi Selavan says that he heard that ris should be ros, and ros is gematria 266. It's 266 steps. The Melachet Shlomo says that's kim tachavei keshet, like we learn about Hagar disting her sense from Yishmael, that's an arrow's throw. And altogether, it comes out to about 12 mil. The hill that we're going to fits very much Reb Chaim Noah's opinion of just under 12 kilometers distance physically from the Har HaBayit to the hilltop which we're going, the prime candidate for it. There's a discussion in the Mefarshim, is Eretz Gzeira means he deliberately stepped out of the Tchum and it was further than one could go, or is it just inside? But you sense the loneliness out here. Hundreds of thousands of people are gathered in Yerushalayim to watch the Kohen Gadol, different positions for different parts. And here he is walking alone. Where we are is either the next to the last or the last booth before we reach that hilltop. He's been escorted the whole time. But when he walks that last mil from the last sukkah to the cliff edge, to the tzuk edge, he walks alone. The wind will make my kippah fly, so I'm holding it. We are looking to the plains of Moab and to where the Jordan River, the Nar HaYarden, flows into Yam HaMelech, into the Salt Sea, the Dead Sea. Har Nevo, where Moshe was passed away and was buried by God, is behind us. This is where we entered Eretz Yisrael. Can you imagine the thoughts of the Ishiti, of the appointed person, as he came here all by himself? I wish I could bring the Rashash, Shmuel Streisand, here, so he would see his discussion of Yud Beit Mil, 12 mil being the outer limit of Tchum Shabbat, the extent that one can go min HaTorah, according to the Rambam, and discussing, is this just within or just outside? And he says just outside is deliberately that it should be Eretz Gezerah, that no other person should be here as he faces this hill. And the reason why we came here is if you measure 12 mil from Jerusalem, as Benzi Lazarovich, who often guides me here, says, put a compass on the Temple Mount and draw a circle. We are here on that line. It was originally pointed out to me by Chaim Megani of blessed memory. This is a cliff where this Mishnah comes to life. It's literally draped on the landscape. The Mishnah says that here he would come, and the person in the last sukkah could see him. Ma haya oseh, what would he do? Cholek lashon shezahorit. Here, he would split the red string, tie half of it onto a rock here, so it would hold and it would rip, and tie half onto the goat between its horns, utchafo la'acharav, and he would push it backwards. And now the goat tumbles of its own weight. V'lo haya magia lachatzi ahar, it wouldn't even reach halfway down the hill, ad shenaseh evarim evarim, until it became shattered in limbs. Look at this cliff. Look at this hillside. Look how steep it is. It tumbles down, bouncing, and shatters. Rav Matis Weinberg likes quoting the Ibn Ezra here as a basis. The Ibn Ezra on the pasuk, "V'lakachat shnei sirim, v'natan Aaron al shnei sirim goralot, goral achad laHashem v'goral achad laZazel," chapter 16, verse 8, says, what's going on with the Sar Azazel? When you become 33, you'll know. And they explained that when you get to the 31st verse afterwards, V'lo yizbechu od la'seirim, that's the key. Kabbalah, Chazal talk about how the goats and the Kippur and Yom Kippur is the deepest evil. It's Azza and Azazel, the two Rephaim, the giants that came from heaven, became human, and were ruinous. We have very deep drives, animal drives, reptilian drives within us, within our brains. We are saying we're ready to get rid of it all. That's what makes up humanity. I'm ready to jettison it all. I give it all up. We say to Esav, lo mi duvshech v'lo mi uktzech. We don't want your honey. We don't want your sting. We recognize the development, but we don't want it all, especially at the end of Yom Kippur. We give it all up and we're free of it. We become like malachim. Then we can re-enter and have a meal, lech echol b'simcha lachmecha, and drink our wine, and we re-enter the physical world. But for a few moments on Yom Kippur, we're ready to give it all up, we tell Hashem, because this is what we want. We want that closeness to you. May we merit that clear kapara, as all of Klal Yisrael throughout the world says the avoda of Yom Kippur, of the Sar Azazel, and the Kodesh LaHashem in Yerushalayim right behind us. May Hashem accept it so that the red string turns white.